All right. All right, seeing that it is 6:45, we are going to call to order the Economic Development Meeting for City of Crystal. And first we will call to order. After that is the roll call. And John, are you doing that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Commissioner Adams?
Here.
Commissioner Banks? Commissioner Budashevsky?
Here.
Commissioner Deschler?
Here.
Commissioner Kaiser?
Here.
Commissioner LaRoche?
Here.
And Commissioner Parsons?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much, John. Item number 3, approval of minutes from the September 17th, 2019 meeting. And Jim?
I move approval of those minutes.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a second? John?
So moved.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the minutes. Next, item number 4, we will open up a public hearing to consider a resolution authorizing the sale of 5417 35th Avenue North to Elin Marco Group. And before we open, John Sutter, do you need to do an intro?
I can do a very brief presentation, mainly to show the house plan that is
that'd be
proposed,
great.
which might be of interest.
Thank you.
So this lot is located in the southeasterly part of the city. I won't go through all these points here. The EDA is familiar with them, but basically this lot is very challenging because of poor soils and also a mislocated water main that inadvertently crosses the property and narrows the area in which a house can be built. So based on that, we believe that the price offered is reasonable, and also the fact that we didn't get any other offers. So the home would be a split entry with a front door facing Lilac Drive to the west, and the garage would face 35th Avenue to the north. And on the main floor, this is the elevation. So the bottom here, the larger elevation, shows it facing west towards Lilac Drive, and the upper left-hand corner is called the left elevation. That would face north towards 35th Avenue. So it would be a split-entry home with an attached 3-car garage. The upper level would have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and the living, dining, kitchen areas. The lower level could be finished later it's shown with 2 bedrooms. Actually, there would be room to have 3, plus a family room, plus a mechanical room, plus another bathroom. So the ultimate build out of this house could be as large as 6 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. So this is a fairly good sized house. So we are asking you to hold a public hearing tonight and then consider adoption of the resolution to authorize the sale of this property to Elin Marco Group for $28,000, excuse me. And the lot sale would have to close by December 15th, and they would have to complete the new home by October 15th of 2020. However, we expect that both of those events will happen much sooner so that the builder can get moving more quickly, and that is up to the builder if they want to do those things sooner. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Okay. Any questions? John?
Just one quick question. So with the entrance porch being on the side of the house, is there going to be, so I take it, so the access to the porch is going to be from the driveway, is that correct, or is that?
One of the conditions of approval, and we've discussed this with the builder, and he agrees with it, is he will need to build a 3-foot wide sidewalk extending from the porch west to Lilac Drive. Because normally with the home of this style, the porch is next to the garage doors, but in this case it kind of faces the other direction, and so there'll be a sidewalk running from here west to the curb on Lilac Drive for guests and so forth. Most of the time the homeowner will probably come in within the garage into the house directly, but that's a condition that the builder agreed to and thought that it made sense given that the front door and the garage face 2 different streets.
Okay. John?
Just to follow up, so then how is it zoned for parking on that street then? If they're going to have are they going to have off-street parking on that side of the street then? Is that?
No, they'll have a driveway facing north, just like any other house, but guests could park on Lilac Drive just like they can park on any residential street. So they can't park overnight, but there are no other parking restrictions on that street.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Sorry, Therese.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. On the back, I see there's about 10 feet between the garage and the property next to it, correct?
Correct, yes.
And then we have a potential future deck, which kind of shortens it to maybe 6 feet or so. Would they be accessing that from the ground as well as upstairs, or is it all ground level, do you think? I see, oh yeah, the plan shows it's an upper.
Right.
And there are the steps, got it.
Right, and it'll be fairly high off the ground. The good news there is that the adjacent house to the east is a good 20 feet from the property line, so from the southwest corner of the neighboring house to the deck is going to be about 26 feet, so there's quite a bit of separation.
Oh, that's good. Is there a fence there now, or is it just trees?
I do not believe there is a fence there.
Okay, that kind of breaks it up nice then. Okay. Therese?
Have we worked with this builder before?
I'm sorry, can I go back to the last question? There actually is a fence there. I couldn't see it, but it's right on the property line. There is a fence there, right in here.
Any other questions?
Have we worked with this builder before?
Yes, this builder has built on a number of privately owned lots on Douglas Drive in the 3900 block, and also did purchase one of our surplus property lots last year, or actually earlier this year, at 2949 Yukon, which had similar bad soil issues, and this builder knows how to do the helical pier method very well.
Very good. Okay.
And one more question. This is the property with the easement when Highway 100 was redone, correct?
Correct. The water main, you can see it, this line here is the water main crossing the property, and then this dashed line here is the east edge of that new easement that you just declared at your last meeting. That is 10 feet east of the water main.
Any other questions before I open for a public hearing? Seeing none, we will now open the floor for a public hearing. And it looks like nobody is here, and so we will close the public hearing. Being there is no further testimony, we will close the hearing, and do we have a motion? Olga, I'm sorry. I thought I saw you raise your hand.
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution for the sale of 5417 on 35th Avenue North.
Okay, and Jim, I'm sorry.
I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. On to item number 5. This is an informational item, a potential train horn quiet zone at the Bass Lake Road crossing of Burlington Northern Santa Fe, or BNSF, and John Sutter.
Thank you again. So this was prompted by a resident that attended the Art on the Strip event a few Saturdays ago. A resident of the Lions Park neighborhood asked the question, why aren't the medians in Bass Lake Road, where it crosses the BNSF, adequate for a quiet zone now? Just a little bit of background. The Blue Line Extension Project is, as part of the construction, Metro Transit would be required to convert all of the at-grade crossings to quiet zones, including the 3 on the map here in Crystal. But the Blue Line project has been delayed, I guess you could say, and that's what prompted the resident to ask a question that, frankly, we at staff had not really asked, which was, what about what's out there now? But since the Blue Line has been delayed, we felt that was a fair question and we should answer it. So that's what we did. We went out, we looked at the median length, both east and west of the crossing, measured from the crossing arms, and the lengths are both adequate for us to avoid having to do a full quiet zone application. You may recall when we did the quiet zones at the Canadian Pacific, Douglas Drive and West Broadway, it took us about 2 years. It was a very long, drawn-out process. And of that 2 years, only about 3 months, less than 3 months actually, was the construction. So it's a very time-intensive process. But if your medians are you have existing medians that are more than 60 feet long, you can avoid that process, and it shortens it to maybe 3 or 4 months. The bad news, though, is that the medians aren't quite 6 inches tall, which is the absolute minimum that they will accept for a quiet zone. So, how would we solve that if we wanted to do a quiet zone here? We install something like you see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, kind of running down the center of the median. A really rough estimate of the total cost here is about $30,000 for everything. That would include us hiring a consulting engineer to take us through the process. It would also include a new cost that we didn't have a couple of years ago, and the railroads now can charge us for their engineering costs. And finally, we'd have to put up some signs in addition to this quick curb or similar product. So our intention at a staff level is not to pursue this at this time, because the most fiscally prudent thing to do is what we were going to do, which is wait for the Blue Line project to convert all these to quiet zones at Metro Transit's expense. But hopefully we'll know more about the status of that project by next summer when we're doing budgets for 2021 and 22, and we can talk with you then about whether or not you want to include this in the EDA budget for 2021 or 22. So that's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Julie?
Well, I live in that area, and I can tell you there's hardly any trains, if ever. So that when I saw that on the agenda, it'd be quiet zone, I thought, what for? It's already quiet. The other thing is the cost, but the other thing that concerns me is, if you look at that intersection, there's a fair amount of people that just can't figure out that at the stoplight, that they shouldn't park on the railroad crossings. But they do. And I'm thinking to myself, if the train's quiet and they're parked there, that could even be more of a catastrophe.
That's a fair point. Yes, absolutely. I guarantee you, though, that if a train is approaching, you're right, the trains are very infrequent, maybe once or twice a day, maybe, but they will blow their horn if the vehicle's sitting on there. Okay. That said, it is something we've noted that, yeah, people are often sitting on the tracks because the trains are so infrequent there.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Just to assure everyone, this was more a response to a resident question, a resident that we thought asked a fair question that we should answer, and wanted to share that with you. But we are not proposing to move forward with this at this time.
Right.
Okay. And just to reiterate, you'll maybe put this on the agenda or to discuss possibly within the EDA budget next year, correct?
Correct, and we'll see where the Blue Line's at next summer.
Right, an update on the Blue Line progress. Okay, great. Thank you, John. Any other questions? All right. Then we will move on to item number 6, other business. Is there any other business for anyone to bring up? Seeing none, we will move to adjournment. John?
So moved.
Okay, second. Brendan?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The meeting is adjourned, I believe, at 6:57. Thank you.